every blotter. So I'm going to read my first sonnet, which I finished today. Of freedom, birds sang sad songs in a cage. How bonny to scatter wings in the sky. How bountiful the world of clouds to gauge at the winsome house of angels being so nigh. To us, we are very few servants of them. We have wings to fly in the sky ample. By not scattering them, how would we claim? But spooky walls of the prison trample our flying vigor, crushing our dreams. Oh, poor us, whose feathers have been cut so badly, but yet our spirit lives. We have too much to show. Our rich zeal will endure the pen merrily. And let this doom catch fall the sky is ours. We will make nest on the lofty towers. My first sonnet is done. And my second one. Uh, and I'm going to read my second poem. I'm not ready to welcome tomorrow. The tick tick sound of the clock may seem euphonious to you, but it alarms me of the passing time, which is passing so quickly, and it is passing like winsome clouds that had come with rain and rendered an ethereal canopy to the sky. Why it horrifies me like a child whose heart trembles at the sound of thunder. Why it has dismayed me like a deserted deer surrounded by hyenas. Why do I wail and mourn as if I was the only one to see Jesus crucified? Why am I destitute like a slave of an Egyptian pharaoh, lingering for the meal after an incessant drudgery? Why am I so depressed like an old book immersed in dust that has been waiting for ages in the library for removing dust from its surface? Yes, I'm afraid. Shouldn't I be? For I'm not ready to welcome tomorrow. Thank you, Finn. Thanks, everyone.
Bravo, beautiful work, sir. Beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank you, Finn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to hear you.
Beautiful. Thanks for staying up so late, too.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Early for you. All right. Okay. Still east, but slightly further west. Welcome back, Alexandra. Maybe it popped off or something. Alexandra, you there? All right, welcome back to Alexandra. Amy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. This is so much fun. It's a great way to bring in the new year. I've got a couple. One is going to be published in a little anthology about birds called Feathers by Clyde Watkins, who is here locally. It'll be out, I think, in a couple months. This is an older one. Sketching barefoot. Barefoot time again, my lover, the wind, loving the elements. Grackle throat out a cubbyhole, feather spiked, blue, black, bright-eyed sound. The river was gray as slate, mudfish hidden, now green as jay this summer. Now they nibble at the surface, bubbling. Neil Young can paint a field. That's not all he can paint. These cows grazing safe, some curled, some stand. The way you said equus, the horse on the hill, lane shift, rail, part of that field already. The trees don't move, they whisper rooted, a shadow bruises the light, golden hawk stretched still in the air, underside white and buff, shadows softer than the morning dove, lulls and gone, but the soft, it left. That's the first one. Thank you. This is a newer one called Blessings and Reservations. The sun warms my hips. All is not lost. All is not found. Chewable vitamin C streams through my system, attacks the dreaded virus. Water lilies cloud the surface of the bath, clouds in my mind, storms. Deep down, we are all monkeys. Avocado on my skin, rainbows in my mind, on my hand. Still dreaming, rain or shine, feel reality in my bones, transcend, dissociate. I know what you all did last summer, all the summers growing up. Even colors are only the repetition of light. The need for this is only an illusion. The mind, nothing but a rainbow, creating dreams that seem real. Translucent beads at the end of the season, full of light, working for the hive till their end. Curling on the white buddleia, they perish in the frost. The delusion of wanting anything except contentment, stillness, the breath of a beautiful new day. Refresh my mouth, lip balm, hibiscus, lavender, mint tea, fractured woman, girls, soothe for now. Do we dare create our days out of hair, clothes, books, music, food, flowers, but only need to breathe, to feel still? I have one more. Actually, I have two more, but I'll just do one more. Thank you. Gosh, thank you. This is one I wrote in early December when I got some tulips for my Christmas present. The constant, the madness for tulips in the 1700s. Now in 2022, nesting 10 bulbs in 3 containers outside to wait for springtime. Pink cashmere, or so the label reads. One can only hope. Some mythicas, they're mythical in a time without mythology. Reality TV, it tastes chemical, alchemical, mystical, some mysticas. The herbal tea is good medicine, a peace offering. I forgot. I remember all the things I've forgotten. There is no subterfuge here, just blurry and clear visions like clouds hovering, reformulating over darkness and light. Heart full of rain, holes where your love used to be. It was gone before I was. Lost little girl song, Jim Morrison. My soundtrack, not knowing why. Vietnam was just part of the landscape. Infinity loop, Mobius strip makes a figure 8, a snake biting its tail. What is as infinite, constant as stars, sun? It's raining thoroughly on the tulip bulbs in their earthy nests, delighted with the feel of fresh water on their outsides, stirring them to bloom in a specific way. A lovely part of my Christmas present from you. Seeds also, tomatoes, flowers, African basil. Nature is our constant changing beast of a world, worlds and worlds, infinite stories to be told, magnificent, expansive as the sky, beyond the stars to infinity. Coming back down to earth, it is a constant being on this earth, the planet among planets and stars. It is enough. Snake eating its tail, infinity, and time loops in your eyes. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, thank
I
you.
just, the thing about being a host is sometimes you just sit and get so engrossed in the words, you forget to just carry on and things like that. Thank you. That was
You're
wonderful.
welcome.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Amy.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ready to go this time, Alexandra.
You can see the graphics, right? Okay, thanks, Rick. Line 11.
Ah, it's just the same old bullshit. Oh shit.
Got a Zoom bomber. Is it clear? Shall I go? Okay. When all I have is Earth, sun, warming my horizons. Sweet Psyche, tender wings fluttering anxiously. For it is the flight that matters. Dragging my aging dreams. Persevering in all kinds of weather. Reaching heights of Icarus, heights of the supreme. Each creation immortalizing mortality, keeping it alive. Creations blowing everywhere, through my eyelashes, through the skies. Flames and eyelashes becoming one. Scorching our weaknesses, guiding lost souls. When all I have is a dandelion pappus to blow. Seeds floating through the vortex to the cerulean ethers. For it is the flight that matters. Chasing my windy wishes. Releasing the nails of mental prisons. Drifting breaths of nature, breaths of freedom. Each ideal golden energy sent into pure light. Ideals blowing everywhere through my heart, through the skies. Zephyr and heart becoming one. Subduing the ego to service the higher good. When all I have is efflorescence blooming in my garden. A farmer of senses, cultivating the fruit of the gods. For it is the flight that matters. Picking my deciduous emotions. Turquoise showers, reviving withered hopes. Chanting priestesses of protection, priestesses of safekeeping. Each inspiration soothing upheaval, melodious salvation. Inspirations blowing everywhere, through my mind, through the skies. Incantations and mind becoming one. Blessed with the power of flowing divine energy. When all I have is paper and pencil for some simple words. Creating poetry between invisible gods and visible mortals. For it is the flight that matters. Rekindling my courageous verse. Grateful in defeat and victory. Dressing ideas in armor, ideas in silk. Each vision a sacred icon in my pilgrimage. Visions blowing everywhere, through my spirit, through the skies. Matter and spirit becoming one. Empowering our lives with universal fire. When all we have is the ray of a new dawn in a dewdrop. Light triumphing, heralding a new beginning. For it is only the flight that matters. Thank you.
For some reason, we can't hear you, Finn. You're not muted, but we still can't hear you. It's maybe something with your headphones. There
Any
you go.
better?
That's it, Finn, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This mic wire comes out on its own sometimes. Anyway, thank you. That was really beautiful, Alexander. Beautiful as always. Thank you. Okay. Chris.
Okay, thanks, Finn. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year to you. Okay, 3 poems tonight, all new poems. First one is called Order. As usual, they're all based on things that happened to me. This is called Order. 5 minutes traversing, manipulating, moving in and out, finding exactly the right place, and the meter screams in my face, out of order. 20 minutes in the waiting room after being there 10 ahead of time. The broken vending machine provides a rhyme. I'm out of order. 2 hours on the laptop booking Dylan's gig. Finally, the screen highlights my slot. Click on buy. Message laughs. And today it says is not your day. The site is out of order. out of order, enough to drive you across the border of sanity to madness. Give me a break. Not working. For man's sake. Seems this is the way, though, the natural order. So next time you ask me to work, I'm out of order. Thank you. So this one is called Hacked, and it's a letter to my wife. I read it to her today to make sure, because she's sitting behind me and I don't want a shoe hitting me in the back of the head. So this is called Hacked, and it's a letter to my wife. Yes, I get hacked off at your cats, hacked off at the mats in the bathroom when you leave them a mess. Yes, I get pissed off when we fight, and I know you're right, but can't stop myself from trying to prove you wrong. Yes, you really get up my wick when you leave your stuff lying around. We argue and I end up tiptoeing around my own house in my own foul temper. Yes, you really annoy me when you work like 12-hour days to ensure that our days are easier for me to live without worry. Oh yes, you really upset me. But then you smile. Just for a while. Your eyes walk me back over the miles of 50 years together, you and I remember why. I seriously piss you off and always will. But then I remember that you love me still. Okay, thank you. Some of you might know this is the last one here, and most of my work is based on things that happen to me or things that I observe or see during the day. And most of you will know that I'm disabled. This happened to me during the Christmas holidays, and it's called Taught Me to Dance. In Walmart's, I was in the toilet, finishing up a number one, sitting down because I can't stand and pee. My balance is so poor, but hey, it's part of me. I had a mother shout, "Could you get a move on? My daughter needs the toilet. This one's for kids, not for adults. This is for kids and disability." I finished zipping my flies up and zipping my mouth, held onto the bars to stop me falling south, washed my hands, gathered my stick, which I hate having to use, standing for a minute to check my balance was true, and the door was banged a few times. On opening the door, I saw her face like a melted gargoyle, twisted with the oils of anger. "You're a disgrace," she said to my face, "a fit guy exploiting the disabled, as if you are not able," pointing to my stick with disdain. She said it again, "You're not disabled. You use that shit to get the benefits." I held up my hand to stop her water spout of ignorance, but still she went on with her bile. I thought, you know, I'll leave it for a while, deal with her later, as my eyes stung with tears. Then to my surprise, a small hand took mine. "Hello," said a small woman in fine Scots tone, looking younger than me, but older too. "You'll never remember me," she said, "but you changed my life." Smiling, she said, "You were my favorite. You gave me the courage. You gave me the skills to survive. You brought me alive and made me laugh with your awful jokes. You challenged me when you coaxed me to successfully speak to the class. You gave me pride in myself when there was none. You helped me grow to become a good human being. You helped a lost and frightened child to reach her potential as an adult. You were my teacher. You taught me to act, to dance, to sing, to make me believe I could be anything I wanted to be. You taught me. You showed me how to recognize that all should dance with pride, regardless of ability. We are all beautiful inside. She said, so if I never see you again, ignore fools like her. Many disabilities are unseen. You see, she just doesn't know how to dance. Her disability is her ignorance. I smiled at her, squeezed her hand, and walked away, smiling. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you.
Oh,
Brilliant.
perfect, brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you, Finn. Thank you.
Wow. Funny, I'm getting nip in and read ones that I wrote the end of last year. And actually it started it a while ago, and it ties in with this subject that you just done, Chris. And I was stuck for a bit. So a few other folk, Al Buchanan, Joe Walsh, Richard Harries, David Langenhorst, Nabila Ahmed, Meher Pistoni, and Therese Crane Birch all helped me write this one. And it is perfect for this. It's called Not All Disabilities Are Visible. So if you don't mind. Not everyone disabled is old. Not everyone old is disabled. Some are able to go out on their own and manage to do things without being told. While others get by with a minimum of care and trusting and just asking for all to be aware. There's all kind of mind games that we cannot see, but we compete in a thought process anyway to simply achieve. And if I look like the athlete, you might presume I can compete. But are hurdles set too high for me to jump over, to please? If I mime to my words under my breath, then you won't hear me talk to myself if I'm closer to death. Some eyes are open but are blinded by sight with the visual, and some talk to me and listen when I speak as an individual. The things that disabled me mostly is attitude towards my disability. I mean, why can't you see my abilities, the rest of me and the best of me, the musician, the artist, the athlete? I am not my disability. It's you that should test your eyes. I am not my disability. And that is no lie. We build a wall, a facade. We hide behind it. We look happy, cheerful, healthy. We survive. But inside can be depression, a bipolar world that affects your life, your thoughts. Poor mental health can often be hidden and remain unseen. And darker may hide behind the masks that we wear. Not all people with disabilities want to stop working. Many just want conditions that will keep them independent and earning and yearning for the same respect as the visibly able tend to get. Not patronizing, talking to the other as if existing in another plane, invisible here. Not everything you see is the truth. Is a door an entry or an exit? Does it lead inside or outside? Does it protect from danger or confine from adventure? It does both, and both are part of its truth. The problem, you see, it's not about me. You're all one after all, whether young or old, and what you fail to see is we're wired differently until you forsake social projections and up the ante in all your elections. You'll find you're strangled with fear and lacking in vision, as diversity is the blessing that gives us the mission. Creating a world of meaning, it seems, requires us all to dream our dreams. A place for each to build the world, to co-create, not what we were told. The mystery, it seems, hides inside. The more you share, the more you care, the more you're creating everywhere. Your personal fear dissolves as grace, and the love of neighbor will replace the veil that covers your eyes with fear that one day you too will disappear. So claim a philosophy of abundance which starts with trying just once, putting a zero-sum equation to throw open the door for your own elation. Now there's enough for everyone, and this is the work of the new economy. More than enough for you and me, and the true disability you will see is not to know I am you and you are me. And I may not hear, but let's be clear, stupid I am not. Look at me when you talk. And just because I can't walk doesn't mean to say I won't understand. It's my hands that don't work, not my brain. And even if my brain is less than yours, respect me. Don't be that jerk. Remember, not everything you see is the truth. And that is no lie. Thank you. I had the first verse in the last section written for ages and I couldn't get anywhere, but all these folk chipped in and helped make it. They never even saw the bit before. They just gave me a bit and it worked wonderful. Thank you. All right. Natalie.
Yeah, hi, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks, Finn. That was fantastic piece. And we've come out fighting already. I've just got a couple of pieces to do tonight. See, I thought about singing the New Year in, but I don't actually have any songs, but I've got pieces that refer to song. This is called Introduced Species. I might have heard it before. Continent hopping, like an introduced species, I've lost possibility of all responsibility. Misery aligns with the virus, a seismic shift in the world's consciousness. Suddenly, we're awaked by the fear of mortality, constantly reading about townships demolishing from their bombs and their guns and their tanks and their bombs on your screen, in your head, in your dreams, in your bed. They are dying. Looking back, my chosen path, it closes in behind me. Thorny vines of my origins entangle hopelessly in a mess, twisting into bitterness, stinging in the nettle. But we lost peace years ago anyhow. And I wonder if I can ever climb back down again. Fear delves into observations of mass populism. We're no longer split into classes, but those who choose community and those who choose to blame the free. And I miss you in the southern seas. Finally, we pick up all those books we always meant to read. Trends on social media cancel intellectuality, constructing horrific news items we all share unwittingly. Isolation within isolation. Living on borrowed time now, dutifully carrying out the role of a law-abiding, God-fearing citizen, trying to prove to society that we're all doing the right thing. And still I wonder, how will I ever get you back to me? Piece number one. This second piece actually was a bit of a, thanks, Erin, was a bit of a trial, and I did it live with a backdrop of squee music. And squee is a style that originated in Sweden and Finland, and it combines synth and bass lines with funk and R&B. But unfortunately, I haven't had time to set up any backing music tonight. So that is a project that is ready for me to start in the future. So, but this is called Bent. Uber arrangement, pioneer mixing of old street traditions club, new lands, European pan dub. Folklore synthesized, turbo juju, Mideastern squee, underground rap battle, fine techniques, Siberian high life, electric poetry, slow-mo, aggressive, regress the progressive voice, power, vocal vocals choke through the broken spoke. Mixturation play a gap back again on the backing track. Provocative thoughts, no. Less is more, no. More is less for regress, not more for less. Or is less more? No. More, no. Less, no. More old school rite of passage. Utilize funk ambient, funk Siberian, funk trance, funk mid-fi synth, turbo folk, oriental funk, European bands, club pans, spunk, bass, double bend over, who's your uncle, peninsula, hernet, eclectic corner, analog your element, double bass your orientate your traditions, propel our progression, the arrangement is bent.
Yeah.
That'll be that'll do me tonight. But
I'm
yeah,
here.
I'd
I'm
love to get some music behind me on that one. So yeah,
I'm imagining the
upcoming
music though. I'm
forward to
hearing the
that.
music behind me. Even though it's not there, I could visualize it. Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to find the right piece
Yeah, it
for
was
it.
wonderful. Yeah.
I love that. I love how you use the cranberries in that. So that's actually quite fitting.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because I forgot to mention these are not my words, this part here, and not my music, but obviously everybody knows that song. So
Oh, yeah.
I've got a meeting with a guy tomorrow locally who's wanting to put ambient music behind poetry and things and do a live night up here with it too. So I'm looking forward to that. And he's got a recording studio. Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks
Well,
very
thanks
much,
everyone.
Natalie. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Over now to Mr. Sindler, Michael.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Let's start with this one called Pick the Pepper from the Stew. I tried to pick the pepper from the stew so I could sprinkle it on something new, but you can't pull a seasoning from the past and put it on the tongue or on the plate. Once it dissolves, it simply will not wait. Its subtle fragrance is too delicate to last. The precious saffron blossom of desire turns bitter when held too close to fire. A waste of effort for the farmer and the chef. The rows of spices resting in clear jars, voices of flavor plucked from near and far, trapped too long, become a song without a breath. I tried to hang a picture in the air, hoping that it would return my stare, but the gravity of the moment let me down. What remains in time is invisible, and yet we think we see just what we want to get. Leaping to reach, we only touch the ground. The portrait we remember posing for, a time spent that once seemed such a chore. Image precious if only half remembered. Days and weeks waiting for paint to dry, shadowed ghosts reflected in our eyes, or a lost map to unrecoverable treasure. I tried to distill wine from vinegar, but the astringent, bitter taste had no allure. But at least there is some sweet left in the sour. I tried to pick the pepper from the stew so I could sprinkle it on something new. Delicacies stay fresh for but a fleeting hour. And next one, this is called Let Go of Together. I've had to let go of together. No space reserved for reunion. Love can still hang in balance. It can hover without anchor, but it will not lash together. It will not bind proximity. It will not reweave torn skein. I've had to rethink and remember. Treasure held gently is less likely to crumble. A song on wind, wings where it wishes. Record too oft played back sounds scratched with static. Tune tastes like smack to an addict. To hold close is to invite overdose. I've had to let go of together. I've had to make room for forever. I've had to let what is be all right. To empty the closet of regrets, to throw away everything that no longer fits. Let charity take what cannot be held, what should not be shelved. To release, to resolve, to remember. Love is not attachment. I've had to let go of together. And one more, a little on the more positive end of the spectrum. It's called Promenade. Little creatures in the soil beneath this tree, burrowing and scuttling over and under root, paddling over leaf cover with silent feet. Tunneling loosens earth, aerates and enriches, slow crawling beetles and swift ants catching sunlight on reflective wings and bulbous bodies. Twitching furred squirrel on treasure hunt for nuts, dashes and darts, paying no heed to wider community of minute inhabitants. Birds cease songs, make picnics, shrink insect populations. Skinks and chameleons devour ants before snakes make meal of luscious lizards. Shoots of dandelion and wild grasses burst up from leaf composted loam. Worm feels at home, threading through gravel and green. Bees coat themselves with golden gametes, passing from flower to flower, hovering high above bush, depositing fuel of future. Trade pollen for nectar. Conglomerate, connective, collective, circling stout tree of old oak, unaware of wider world beyond shade of branches. Roots meet mycelia and microorganisms merge across vast space between trees, communicate secrets of field and forest. Petite creatures each dance gently over web of sentient soil, intersecting rituals of survival, all feeding from gifts of sun and mineral matter. Lean down to see, focus on the close, hand to sand, ear to ground, then rise up, realize dance continues on larger scale, rolling over vast reaches. Each movement over miles or millimeters marks a step in tune into whirling frolic of planets promenade. Okay, thank you all, everybody.
You're muted, Finn. Finn, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm not muted. The mic keeps cutting out. It's working now. I can see. All right, he's sitting at his desk now. Xavier, you've been busy, but you're up now, sir. And you're muted.
Sorry, I was talking to my sister. I can hardly talk to her. How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So I got good news because I won the case of racism against me, so at the company. So so won them. So now we need to work out whether if we go into tribunal or there is a thick check going through the post, but not that thick, eh? But anyway, it's been like 10 months, and well, you know, it just shows how racist is the UK, you see. And it's been well, it's been really hard, and I'm burned out, but I'm very happy that I stuck for everybody else, you know. You know, you gotta fight it so other people cannot go through the same suffering. So today I finished my first draft of my next book, and like you, Finn, to give me a number between 1 and 83, and then I'll read one of the poems, whatever it is.
Okay. 75.
25. See what poem is in there. Let me see. Go to 75. Give me another one, because that one is a title.
Oh, okay. 7.
7. I gotta be from 9. Sorry, man. From 9.
From 9. Okay. 25.
25. Let's see. Excellent. Okay. So the book is called The Eye of Reality, and is very very blunt, you know, unsurprisingly. And this one is from the section of humans. So there's 6 sections, and it's called America's Sweaters. And I'll read it first in English and then in Catalan. It says, that little man leaves the house, all happy with the trendy sweater. That little man leaves the house, all happy with the trendy sweater. He was all worked out. He had lost the sleep to acquire the velvet sweater. The newspapers publicizes it. Sweater of America. I wonder, you will get dollars, a job, power, and be the king of the party. Now, yes, Maria will pay attention to him, thought the little man, with the nice and clean green sweater. Speaking of Mary, she's approaching, and she's not alone. She's with a neighbor. Suddenly, the little man feels miserable. The velvet sweater the neighbor is wearing. He looks at the street with suspicion. All men are bitter. The velvet sweater they all have bought. A convertible Ferrari ran and recognized the driver. It is the sweater maker, wearing a yellow sweater. The embarrassed little man realizes of the collective shame where men sniff fantasies to be slaves, to be suicidal. There's not a final translation. That is what a bit, you know. Then I'll write it in, I'll say it in Catalan. Okay. Jerseis d'Amèrica. Aquell homenet surt de casa, tot contem en el jersei de moda. Suós apetit, son perdut per adquirir el jersei de vellut. Els diaris en parlaven. Jersei d'Amèrica, una meravella. Aconseguires dòlars, feina, poder i ser el rei de la rebella. Ara sí que la Maria li farà cas, pensava l'homenet, amb el jersei verd, tot maco i net. Parlant de la Maria, s'apropa pel camí i no va sola, va amb el veí. De cop l'homenet se sent desgraciat. El jersei de vellut el veí porta posat. Mira el carrer reüll. Tots els homes estan amargats. El jersei de vellut tots han comprat. Un Ferrari descapotat corria i reconeix el conductor. És el que fabrica els jerseis, vestint un jersei de color groc. L'homenet avergonyit s'adona de la vergonya col·lectiva, on els homes ensumen fantasies per ser esclaus, per ser suïcides. So that's it. So basically, is a critique of consumerism, and I think everybody has had this rather pitiful experience, you see, of getting inflated the ego by the system, by a product, you know, and then you realize that everybody has gone through the same, you know, the same experience, you know. Is this cancer, you know, from capitalism to make us feel special, you know, and then it's just a business, you know, it's just mental brainwashing, isn't it? So I don't know. I hope you like it, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, it's not the classical smashing, but it's a bit more I would say philosophical, you know. But anyway, it's been great being here. So I gotta get ready and go to work. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
So-
Xavier. Always great to have you here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I'll, if I don't make it, it's because I'm working or
Yeah, I know.
or whatever, you know. And as I say, the English version is still is the first draft. So when the Eye of Reality comes out, you know, you'll know, and then there'll be a more perfected, you know, version. Okay. Have
Cheers, man. Thank you.
a
Glad
good-
you could make it. I can screw the system, man. Screw the
Bye.
system. Bye. Thank you.
yeah, screw the system. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Always a pleasure to have Xavier here. Now we're going to welcome. It's always great for another show host feature come into my show as well. And Judith has actually appeared live in Blot just once when she came to the festival this year in Newport Sligo. And she just came to watch, and I managed to convince her to go up and take a spot on the stage. Would you please welcome, first time here on Zoom, Judith Taylor. Thank you.
Thanks, Finn. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what the weather conditions were like with anybody else, but we had a beautiful full moon here last night and a clear sky, and so I'm gonna start with a poem about the full moon. I drive home by the retail park, that huge moon ahead of me all the way. And on the threshold of the supermarket, there you are, trudging out of a long slough of despond and into your 12th year of sobriety, a sore struggle every day. You smile, we talk about poetry. You say you're on your way to look for the beautiful moon, and tired, I wave my arm at the ugly buildings. Back there, I say. But the night shines above all that for both of us, though the sky's a scrapyard of broken pewter clouds, and the moon is pale and ancient, beaten thin with the effort of gilding heaven. Only so much a moon can do. In the atmospheric turbulence of a city evening, the raw exhaust. We lift our eyes to her all the same. And this is a kind of a seasonal one. This is called January. Midwinter's past. The glamour's off the starlight and the frost. Although we act halfway through, we know there's more to follow. Walking on solid grass, white as lead, on marble roadways. The sky, nothing but trouble, or an opening for trouble to come. And the sweet things eaten up, the party dresses put away like mad wives. We're not counting the days these days, only the cost. And maybe, though we don't say we are, mind, the footsteps departing from the door. And this is a kind of a recent one, just to finish with. This is slightly more cheerful. It's called Gift. The last dream of the night, after the undergrowth, the dead flowers and the long unwelcome letters, offers me just one thing, a black feather lying on thirsty grass. A crow, or a raven maybe. Nothing else that size would be so completely dark. I admire the smooth interlock of the filaments that resist the air and water. I admire the elegant sweeping line, the sheen that sends the sunlight back where it came from. It would make a fine romantic quill, but I'd have to take a knife to it. And something revolts inside me at the thought of that. My dream feather, granted me like a question. I will take it as it came to me. I will carry its bright precision darkness with me all the way into the morning. Cheers. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was fabulous as always, Judith. Thank you. Brilliant. Welcome on board to Zoom. Okay, hey, you ready for Mr. G. Allen?
I'm going to do 2 poems for y'all. Happy New Year. And to assist me in this endeavor per usual, I'm going to use the share screen feature. The first poem is called Subculture. I've spent my entire young adult life in active search of myself. Racism made me leave the heavy metal scene. Backstabbing made me leave the punk scene. High school clique level immaturity made me leave the Circle A scene. Lack of a lover and peers of similar tastes made me shed Black Gothic threads in favor of colors. In my pursuit through the crowds, I found myself in pieces, went. From metalhead to punk to goth and anarchist combo. Those years, those stages were fun, but they ended with dissatisfaction and the taste of spew. The mainstream don't want me, and the underground doesn't either. Let me say that again. The mainstream don't want me, and the underground doesn't either. I don't see a contingent of folks with open arms, happily chanting, one of us, one of us, one of us, to me anytime soon. Through the looks, crowds, years, stages, I found myself in pieces, went from metalhead to punk to goth and anarchist combo. Now I'm nothing but a subculture of one. That was called Subculture for Barbara Mercer and Darren J. Beeney of the English literary magazine Flights of the Dragonflies and New Jersey, USA poet Nick Paleologos. And the last poem is called Unclench. Every waking moment in this public sphere, the hood anyway, I walk down these dirty East Oakland streets like I'm on a mission to stomp, to kick, to punch out, to lunge at the first hoodneck, roughneck, or hood rat that looks at me wrong, sounds like they're spreading vicious rumors. But around the right clique, the right person, I can drop the aggro, urban discipline game face and unclench. Give myself a moment to soften. That last poem was called Unclench for Maureen Medina, New York City born and Portugal-based poet. And those 2 poems happen to come from the new anthology, Self-Portrait, a collection of contemporary autobiographical poetry, now available from India-based publisher Culture Cult. From this mic to your ears, I'm Dee Allen. Thanks for listening. Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you, Dee. Thank you. Yeah, I love that. We're all subcultures of one in the little boxes here tonight. It's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, over to Singapore now. Sylvia.
Hi, everybody. This is Sylvia from Singapore. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm going to read a poem that I just wrote a couple of days ago, and it's called The Tongue Have No Bone. Hold on to your tongue. Think before you speak. The optimistic will view you at your best. The pessimistic will pull you down the rain. Be watchful before you reserve your command. It will save you from falling from grace. No matter what happens, stay calm, chin up, walk tall. Be on the sidewalk, watch the drama unfold. You will see the true color. Smile and bring the sunshine to others. Thank you. That's for all. I stay half an hour, then I go back to sleep and go to work. Thank you, Finn.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. Short and sweet, but glad you made it tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Ready to go now, Lucia.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm honored to be here with you, and please allow me some short texts I prepared for today. They belong to a collection called They Don't Speak Polish in the Realm of Death. Unfinishable. I'm changing, not even knowing into what. I would like so much to take with me, not even knowing where. My hands are shaking, my heart and my palm. Or maybe this heart isn't even mine. A long time ago, I stopped waiting to be enlightened. I deceived the sun. I betrayed the light for 30.5 pieces of silver. I will keep the change. And the second text from the same collection. Next stop. In the Paradise Garden, they don't smoke. There is no smoking, no drinking, no drugs. Marys don't lose their virginity and don't give birth in stables. No names are taken in vain, especially if no one bears them. No apple stealing, no snake killing, no Polish speaking, and no metro passing through. And even if it did, it certainly wouldn't stop here. So in any case, we should get off at the next station. Thank you very much. And once again, happy and proud to be here with you. All the best.
Wow, thank you very much indeed. We've all got off at the next station. I love that last line. Thank you. It was brilliant. Okay, here we go. Richard Harris.
Hello, how are you? Happy New Year, everyone. Chris actually reduced me to tears with one of his poems about disability, and so I've completely changed my my offering tonight, and I decided to do quite an old one, which is in my first book. I'll wave my book around again, but that's all I'll do. And it's called Benefit Scrounger, and it's a true story. I just changed names. Esme was a cleaner, a grafter, not well paid, became ill, could not breathe easily, went to her doctor, treatment did not help. Referred her to the chest clinic, all this time on sick leave. Lots of tests on vastly expensive machines. Diagnosed by a specialist, a great man in his field, chronic obstructive airways disease. I went to see her, applied for DLA. I was warned to wait at the door. It took Esme 10 minutes to get there, holding onto the wall, slowly, gasping, moving back to her chair, oxygen by her side. She used it all the time if she ever went out, which was rare, but her husband carried the cylinder, too heavy for her. DLA's form submitted. Doctor from Benefits Agency attended to assess. To her face, he called her a benefit scrounger. DLA refused. Statements from husband and GP ignored. I submitted review with more statements, including the specialists, all supporting Esme. Within my letter, gave notice of appeal, stated that if the review failed, I would ambulance Esme to a tribunal, on camera, and if possible, on TV. Review allowed. Payment backdated. That was not important. Esme wanted to be believed. Esme delighted. I complained about the doctor formally. To be retrained, they said, not sacked, no apology. 10 months later, Esme, the woman who could not breathe, that benefit scrounger, died. The doctor, no doubt still earning his money on top of his GP wedge for a bit of overtime. Now, who would you call a benefit scrounger? And it's just unbelievable, isn't it? And it's got worse ever since then. That's a case when I was a benefits worker. I was a disability tribunal advocate, and it's just got worse and worse and worse as they cut and cut and cut. You know it, dreadful. So even though it's an old case, it's very relevant. And this is one I almost never perform. And I was asked about it the other day, not particularly from here, although Finn did tell me that he liked my serious work. So I thought I wouldn't be funny tonight. And this is from the first book. And again, it's a true story. It's somebody I knew who was a lovely lady. Into the light. She would soon be 85, blessed with a long life. She lay there wondering how much longer she had now. She really had had enough. She remembered her mother in the years before school, so long ago. Her children themselves were now old, those that still lived. Strange and somehow wrong to survive one of your children. Adolescence, boys discovering her body, her sexuality, love, loss, joy and despair, adventure and travel, roaming the world. She was blessed with wealth and health until her body got tired and started wearing out. She had fought, oh, so hard, and kept going after many operations and treatments and therapies and drugs. But things got so hard, and now she could not travel, and her children had their lives far away and had to visit when they could. So now her eyesight and hearing, mobility, and so much worse were failing her. She no longer loved her life, did not enjoy every day, got the thrills, the pleasure. So it was now time to go. She relaxed and let go and drifted away into the light and was at rest. She was an American lady, and she once visited me here. And most Americans that have visited me are all very health conscious and read every additive on every bottle. And I said to Rita, I said, "Do you want some coffee?" And she said yes or yes. I'm not good at accents. And I said, "Would you like caffeinated or decaffeinated?" "Oh my God, if I'm going to drink the muck, I might as well have the cake." You know, and that was kind of how she lived her life. So there you are. And while I'm still staying, I'm reading from the new book now. I've got a book launch, if anyone's near Hull in England, on the 21st of this month. It's at the Brain Jar in Hull at 2 p.m. And this is particularly good. I know Finn loves me to mention this particular lady, and it's called Inspired by Downtown. It's a part of a trilogy of when I was kind of homeless and in bedsitter land poverty. Loneliness was mine. I'd left home, well, been thrown out, plenty of worries. College in the day, work at night to pay the bills, no help or support from anywhere. So just an empty bedsit to return to. No phone. So isolated, a record player on the floor, no plug on it, just bare wires into the socket, a fawn and red dance set, albums, Melanie, Joni, Aretha, Motown, and especially Petula. And I was so alone, I played them all and realised that to forget all my troubles and cares, I should go into the town and meet folk there. I knew a place in Harrogate on Montpellier. It was a cellar bar, can't remember the name. Plenty of music. No bossa nova, but did hear the traffic on the way. Lights outside in the trees. Not neon, but bright enough for me. There was music and beer, friendly faces and folk to talk to. I did not need to be alone. I was indeed downtown. I had taken Petula's advice, had found a place to go. It was indeed a friendly, safe place. And I'm sure Finn will want to know that she was 90 a few days ago and is closing in Mary Poppins in the West End tonight. It finishes tonight after a 4-year run. She's amazing. And she's talking about a new album. Anyway, that's cheered Finn up. So I'll say goodbye.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure she'll manage to get one done. I'm sure. All right. You're welcome back, Laura.
Hi, Pin. Great to see everyone tonight. Wonderful work. I'm going to try to read this piece. I'm sorry, I'm a little weak, and I'm gonna just go after this. So this is called Geodetic Survey, 3-Dimensional Changes in Crustal Motion at Millimeter Scale. And it is inspired by a poem by Catherine Pierce. So. My first country is the size of a grain of sand, the size of a ticking minute, the size of a clicking trigger, the size of a tadpole kicking, the size of the little blue pond in the garden where a blackbird drinks. My first country is also the size of the Milky Way in a West Texas night, the size of a cicada's exoskeleton clinging to a live oak branch, the size of the Grand Canyon's pink and orange hide, the size and the size of a 3-day certified public accountancy exam. My first country is on certain days the size of the Longhorns marching band performing Crazy Orange Bread in the University of Texas football stadium. The size of a trumpet spitting, the size of the football just kicked, the size of 11 Black football players on their knees in protest, the size of 22 law students playing Frisbee at Harvard Law School, the size of a book called Catch-22, the size of high-rise glass office buildings where people stare out, and want to go down. My first country is the size of an incredibly sour wild Mustang grape hanging over Waller Creek, the size of the first Whole Foods grocery down on Lamar Boulevard, packed with shoppers and a mariachi band, the size of the little red mountain laurel bean that we rubbed on the hot concrete and then burned each other's legs with when we were 8, the size of fresh tamales at Christmas, the size of a ram after drought, the size of 1,000,000 acres burning in wildfire, the size of a bluebonnet meadow blooming after rain, the size of my grandfather's booming voice say, "We got an inch of rain, it's beautiful." My first country is also the size of a baby's laugh, the size of a gunshot, the size of a woman's peace march, the size of a coffin, the size of 100,000 coffins marching down the road to protest gun deaths. My first country is the size of the 1960s, of a race riot where a youth named Cisco slapped a school bus with a big chain, the size of children's screams, the size of an Armadillo World Headquarters rock concert, the size of Willie Nelson and Eddie Ramone and Lead Belly on stage together, the size of a 1975 bright red fire engine truck, the size of a hurricane named Elva that lifted houses and set them down with cows inside, the size of a child riding downhill with no hands on the handlebars. My first country is even the size of a front porch with 2 old lady best friends chatting, the size of an attic on a broiling day with 8 children discovering a nest of newborn mice nicely pink, the size of a cockroach on your face, the size of a UFO at a campout that bursts into sight, turns a corner, and disappears. My first country is the size of me. Thank you for listening.
Wow. Oof. That was awesome, Laura. Wow, thank you. A perfect description too, isn't it? It's perfect. Wonderfully great.
Thank you, Beth.
Oof. Okay. Welcome back, Generalissimo.
Yeah, make me follow Laura. That's fair. That was wonderful, Laura. I just was bowled over with that. That was wonderful. Thank you. I've been pulling a lot of stuff out of the archive lately. So this is called The Aftermath of You. I was head over heels since day one, the first, second, and you forced my heels over my head and made me think I was some sort of contortionist. You distorted truths and twisted facts into shapes and forms that couldn't be twisted back. All my work became jumbled into an incomprehensible stew, and everything I said was perfectly clear before the aftermath of you. You hit me like a hurricane, earthquake, and tidal wave all at once. The debris left behind has blocked my sun. I don't want to clean it up so no one strips me of my soul, and history won't repeat itself. Life will be easier with my heart hidden behind some dusty storm candles on the utility room shelf. I try to love, I try to trust. Our history has accrued. I try to not make excuses, but I make excuse after excuse in the aftermath of you. And you're a storm I wouldn't wish on anyone, but you've disappeared into thin air. I know you'll reappear somewhere. I feel guilty, helpless, and blue because I know there is only aftermath after the aftermath of you. And let's see. This is called Unrequited. I am a deer in headlights in your presence, just the sight of you. When you gently graze my elbow unintentionally, oops. When you lightly tap me on the shoulder, when you say hello to me, God help my heart if you wave or smile at me from across a crowded room. If you dare to look me in the eyes, for me to tell you how I feel would make my heart beat so fast, it would have to jump out of my chest to survive. I will write my feelings in a poem in a squiggly black and white cardboard covered comp book. Tear the page from the notebook, fold it in thirds, shove it in an unmarked envelope under a pile of paid bills in my desk drawer, so I shall never risk reading it to you or anyone else. If I did so, I might learn why the word crush exists. You could hold my mushy heart in your hand and twist it and wring out my ability to smile, leaving only residual heartbreak tears that would never dare exit my eyes. I shall take a deep breath. I shall never exhale. I shall accept our existences as separate. I shall accept being afraid of my shadow is the same as being afraid of being in love. I hope one day you will reciprocate my feelings without my expressing them to you, so I can finally be able to read you this poem. And this is 4 poems. Oh, do I have this up here? Bear with me 1 second. Oh. Is it here? Okay, I'll do something different. Let's see what I have up here. But I had that up there. Oh, this is it. Yeah, this is 4 micro poems about love. And I have 1 more poem after that. 1, true love is the ability to massage someone's heart. 2, true love is a tear from a crying eye with a smile. 3, true love is never telling someone what they cook needs salt. And 4, true love is knowing how to execute a hug over the phone. This is an untitled poem. Close your eyes. Open your hands wide, take a shallow breath. The type of breath you take when you are where the air is fresh and void of pollution, an unspoiled shoreline or mountaintop. My arms are beginning to wrap around your back. The tips of the finger on my left hand are touching the curve of your right shoulder. My right hand is against the flat of your back, below your left shoulder. The beat of my heart quickens because you are you. I inhale through my nose, which makes a slight whistling sound. As I release my breath, my heartbeat slows a bit. You inhale through your mouth as your arms surround me like a non-restrictive straitjacket. Your fingers find me where my rib cage resides. As you let out a soft exhalatory sigh, I feel your heartbeat through my chest. Its rhythm permeates the atmosphere. We have composed a symphonic duet for flute and harp that can only be heard with eyes closed and open souls. Thank you. And thank you very much, Fen, for this wonderful space.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much indeed, sir. That was fabulous as always. Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you. All right, next up, welcome. The Queen of the Friday Funnies, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. It's really nice to be back. I haven't done any readings for a while, and I want to wish you all a Happy New Year. And wow, it's been really great today. I wrote a really quick piece, and I realized I write prose, not poetry. So anyway, here we go. Ring in the new year, DB. It's David Bowie's birthday. Ring in the new year. Peal the bells and strike the drums. Let's see if we can reach him hanging out way up there in space, where he obviously was from, back to his home. It's David Bowie's birthday. It's New Year's 2023. It's January 8th. I wonder if he can hear all of us down here. I wonder if he's smiling, knowing we care, that his music will be here forever and ever. It's David Bowie's birthday. It's time for us to do a jig, sing a song, maybe even run in place. It's time to be joyous and free and put on a happy face, even though my neighbors suck and their dog is an aggressive fuck who constantly barks, and her kids in the neighborhood kids keep playing basketball. Yes, basketball, even at night, with not one, not two, but 3 basketballs. Oh, I'd like to throw one of them through the hoop, or maybe all of them, shove them down one at a time until they're piled on top of each other like a stack of smush human accordion pleats. God, they act like they own the place. And just because they were here first doesn't give them the right to disturb the entire neighborhood with their pollution, does it? But it's David Bowie's birthday, and it makes me happy to remember his body of work, his lovely ballads and multitude of rock and roll art forms. Ziggy meets the Thin White Duke over and over, like the body of Christ, which he sometimes portrayed, like the body of Christ, which his heart displayed. Peal the bells and strike the drums. Yes, let's see if we can reach him hanging out way up there in space. Happy birthday, David.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates that and applauding you wherever he's pointing about that. Thank you very much, Catherine. Thank you. Okay. Would you please welcome, we have a first-time blotter totally on the screen tonight. Would you please welcome Marianne?
Okay, thank you very much. I do apologize for being in and out today, and I wish everyone Happy New Year, of course, if we haven't already greeted. Had a little appliance malfunction here in my kitchen, and so that was fun. But I wanted to share something a little bit on theme of song, and I have to just grab it back up again quickly. I wanted to share a song that my late father had loved very much. And, oops, sorry, of course you want to try anything quickly and you don't find it. You'll be delighted to know that I won't be singing for you today. Here in St. Martin, of course, on a Sunday, we have plenty of traffic overhead, so I'll take a moment. Sorry for that. And then I'd like to take my turn to share with you, just very briefly, Song of Myself by the American poet Walt Whitman, verse 1. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. I loaf and invite my soul. I lean and loaf at my ease, observing a spear of summer grass. My tongue, every atom of my blood, formed from this soil, this air, born here of parents born here, from parents the same, and their parents the same. I, now 37 years old, in perfect health begin, hoping to cease not till death. Creeds and schools in abeyance, retiring back a while, sufficed at what they are, but never forgotten. I harbor for good or bad. I permit to speak at every hazard, nature without check, with original energy. Song of Myself to start the new year. And if I may, I would then share a poem of my own. Let's see. Well, I shared this poem the other evening with some, and I'd like to share it again. I feel really pleased about having the opportunity to have written this poem. I was invited to do it for the 160th anniversary of the abolition of slavery in the Dutch Kingdom. St. Martin, where I live, is a Dutch country. And I call this poem Wedding Day. I do not long for a long white dress with lace sewn in spidery patterns like the backs of the wrinkled hands that squinted into the candlelight as they worked the needle. That is for Miss Franny and Miss Alice. I do not crave a fine band of gold to shine like my husband's eyes, even on moonless nights when the gold seeps between the boards, for I have already worn a yellow bracelet that bound me to another man, and I wear it always. At sunset, Big Martin and Treetop will hold the broom as I jump, but my father will not be smiling in the headband and breastplate of skins handed down to him from his grandfather, and I will not be secretly proud that the family of my husband gives so many brown and red cows for me. I will take my spoon and the pumpkin seeds that dried on the sill last summer and move into my husband's cabins. I will take the Orishas who guarded my birth, but not the one they want us to think will forgive all when we die. I will carry with me all the love I have, and just for tonight, and tonight, and tonight, I will be his bride. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, all. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Marianne. Thank you very much indeed. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you, Finn, for having me.
My pleasure. Anytime, anytime. All right, Mr. Ian McKinsey.
Thank you, Marianne. Wish I was somewhere in the Caribbean right now. long as there are no tornadoes or hurricanes around, that'd be brilliant. I've got just a couple that I wrote just before Christmas, and one under sadder circumstances, which I think it's the first poem I wrote of 2023. So the first one, at Cafe Nero, just before Christmas. It's a clear sky with a stiff chill in the air, and I've just had a haircut. So I'm in here in my regular stop off in town at Cafe Nero, Apex Plaza. The barista is on her 11th consecutive shift. Super tired, she says, but with a smile that looks kind of infectious. And I'm feeling in a good mood and feeling like I'm owed a treat. So with the regular Americano milk separate, I'm having a slice of that solid looking chocolate cake. And indeed, it fills the spot that needs constant feeding of intermittent treats, whichever keeps the cold at bay. And I'm sitting here looking out from my favorite perch through the big window out onto Blagrave Street, thinking to myself, life's not too bad after all, even if the electric bills are going through the roof, quite literally, in a world growing increasingly topsy-turvy, where logic has become just one more sad statistic on the injury list, like a tragic Christmas toy broken beyond repair. But all the same, the chocolate cake is moist, and the barista's smile seems like a mile wide, banishing all ill will. That's that one. This one, called Entropy, or what was that word again? There it goes again. What was that word? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. You know, the feeling, that instant recall of memory quietly seeming to slip away, leaving you scrabbling for a certain word that fits just so into that slot, a close fit expressing the thought locked inside your head, but so precise with a certain sense of je ne sais quoi, the very essence of what you really mean to say. Now, where was I? Here again, I'm grasping at straws as the synapses begin to soar and strain under the gnawing bite of inevitable entropy. Now, what was that word again? And finally, this is the saddest one. It's called Recollections of a Long Day, on the day of Aunt June's funeral. The Cheshire skies, claggy with pent-up tears, holding it all in, ready to unleash in molten downpours later that night, and roads gun-metalled blue-grey, giving a hard edge to a sad day of goodbyes, but yet at the same time acting to bring a razor-sharp focus to bear on what needs to be remembered, but which often gets left on the shelf of forgotten memories. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Oh yeah, I read that last one when you put it online the other day. It's beautiful poem one. Thank you. Okay, where were we? Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, okay. I can be Joe. So I don't have anything. I don't have anything new. So I'll give you something rough I wrote for a workshop. This is a sequel to another story I wrote called Brick and Dummerton. So if you haven't heard the first story, basically Brick and Dummerton are this terrible Abbott and Costello type comedy duo. Terrible but inexplicably popular. And the first story has them wandering around New York State after COVID and nuclear war have wiped out most of humanity. So this is Brick and Dummerton 2. Brick and Dumber. It had taken weeks of walking. They were exhausted, and their foot soles would never fully recover. But Brick and Dummerton had made it to Niagara Falls. Brick stood at the railing and looked at the enormous waterfall beneath them, as the roaring rush of water drowned out just about any other sound in the vicinity. It hadn't rained in days, so Brick closed his eyes and reveled in the flying droplets landing on his face. Dummerton waddled not far behind. He'd fallen on the ground 5 times in the previous 10 minutes and struggled to stay vertical again. But that proved a challenge with that enormous weight. Brick turned around, looked at Dummerton, smiled, and spread out his arms. "Gee, Dummerton," he said, "here we are in Niagara Falls." Dummerton sported a puzzled expression. Then he thought for a moment. "Say, Brick," he said, "I can't remember's the next line. Can you accuse me?" Brick groaned, stepped up to Dummerton, and smacked him in the face. "We ain't doing a sketch, stupid," he snapped. "I'm just saying, here we are in Niagara Falls, normal like, see? What a maroon." Dummerton shook off the impact of the slap. "Why is you so mean to me, Brick?" he whined. "It was just a, what do you call 'em, a misunderstanding there. You can't blames a fellow if he, whoops!" He fell over backwards once more. "Oopsie doopsie, Mac, I done it again." Brick shook his fist at Dummerton as the latter struggled back to his feet. "Why, I oughter," he said. "If you wasn't the only buddy and pal I got left in the world, why, I'd yank out your tongue and poke holes in it with a stapler." "That's mean, Brick." "Shut up." Brick rolled his eyes. Then he turned and pointed to a large bridge just north of the falls. "Now here's the way I figures it, see? That bridge way over there, that's what they calls the Rainbow Bridge, right?" Dummerton squinted at the bridge. He frowned. "Why do they calls it the Rainbow Bridge, Brick? It don't look like no rainbow. All them rainbows got fancy colors, don't they? This one ain't got no fancy colors. I'm confused." Brick smacked him again. "Shut up, stupid. It's just a doggone name is what it is. The Rainbow Bridge. Maybe they named it after some fella Joe Rainbow or something. Anyways, the way I figures it, we go across the bridge to Canada there and see if there's any survivors like. Maybe the Russians didn't bomb Canada so much. What do you say?" Dummerton shook his head. "I don't know if that'll work, Brick. Don't you and me gotta have passports to get into Canada?" Brick smacked him. "Ow!" said Dummerton. "Don't be stupid, kid. We're in the apocalypse, so nobody's gonna give no shakes of a lamb's tutti frutti about borders anymore." "But Brick, ain't it gonna be cold over there in Canada? We ain't got no winter coats or boots. I ain't even got my long johns. How are we gonna get along in Canada without no long johns? We can get long johns in Canada. They've got to be up to their ever-loving eyeballs in long johns. But Brick, don't they speak a lot of French in Canada? How are we gonna understand anybody up there? We don't speak no French. Oh, for the love of... Brick turned to smack Dummerton again, but decided that he couldn't be buggered about it this time. Look, it's real simple to speak French. All you gotta do is make with the bonjour and parlez-vous all the time. Smoke cigarettes while you're doing it. It's so easy they won't even be able to tell the difference. Got it? Dummerton sighed skeptically, and they started trudging their way towards the Rainbow Bridge. They were quiet for several minutes, and then Brick spoke up. You know, he said, come to think of it, it ain't just a rainbow bridge. I hear lots of bridges up in Canada got some pretty peculiar names. Why, there are bridges in the Newfoundland and Winnipeg where I hear got funny names. So tell me the name of the bridge in the Newfoundland, Brick. I don't give a darn. Yeah, but what's the name? No, what's the name of the city in Kentucky what I told you about? I don't know. No, that's in Illinois. Huh? You're confusing me, Brick. All I'm asking is the name of the bridge in the Newfoundland. I told you, I don't give a darn. I'm not asking if you care, I just want to know the name. Brick turned and smacked Dummerton. Ow, said Dummerton. Stupid. You're so mean, Brick. Well, tell me the name of the bridge in Winnipeg then. Tomorrow. But I wants to know now. I'm telling you, tomorrow. But I wants to know today. Not today's the name of the... shut up, Dummerton. They reached the Rainbow Bridge and walked across it, taking in the spectacular view of the falls along the way. At the other side, behind a window, sat a little man in the customs office. Brick and Dummerton didn't see him at first. Bonjour, mes amis, said the little man. Ah! Both of them literally leapt in the air. This was the first live human being they'd seen in weeks. Vous êtes américain, n'est-ce pas? The man said. Brick and Dummerton both regretted that they had no cigarettes between them. Bonjour, said Brick. Bonjour, parlez-vous, said Dummerton a little too loud. Brick elbowed him in the gut. The little man laughed. Is okay, he said in a thick Quebecois accent. I speak some English. Brick and Dummerton gasped with relief. But I do have to check the passports before you come into the Canada, he added. Brick gulped while Dummerton scoffed. What I told you, Brick? I told you we needed passports, and you says I'm the stupid one. Sheesh. Brick smacked him in the face, sending him toppling to the ground. Shut up. Oopsie doopsie, Mac. I done it again. The border guard did a double take. Oh la la, he cried. Are you the Brick and Dummerton? Both of them grinned. The one and only, said Brick. Oh, mon Dieu, I love you guys. I used to watch you on the television. You was always on right after Just for Laughs gags. Geez, said Dummerton, what kind of comedy show can you make about gags? Gags don't make you want to laugh. They cover your mouth so you can't talk. You Canadians got a weird sense of humor. Brick slapped him again. Shut up, stupid. He means gags like jokes and stuff. The little man laughed again. I love it. I love how you stay in character like that. Brick and Dummerton looked puzzled. What do you mean stay in character? What character? Said Brick. As in the way you never break out of the roles. I wonder, when do you stop being the Brick and Dummerton and be your normal selves again? Brick and Dummerton looked at each other with the same baffled expressions and shrugged. You mean, said the border guard, his jaw hanging, you mean these aren't characters you play? You really are the Brick and Dummerton? That's what it says on our birth certificates, Mac, said Dummerton. The border guard blinked a few times and shook his head in amazement. Quellement étrange, he said. Whatever, here's my deal. I'll let you across the border if you do one little favor. That is, asked Brick, the Marie Antoinette sketch. Brick smiled and shook his head. We'd love to, pal, but we needs a goyle for that, and we ain't seen no goyles for weeks now. Well, said the man, what about the Canada routine? Brick and Dummerton nodded. All right, the Canada routine, said Brick. He spread out his arms. Gee, Dummerton, he said, here we are in Canada. What a place, huh? Dummerton looked around in feigned disappointment. Don't look like much, he said. Why do they calls it Canada anyways? Maybe they ought to calls it Canada. Brick slapped him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Shut up, stupid. Oopsie doopsie, Mac. I done it again. Hehehe, laughed the border guard, and Brick and Dummerton knew everything was going to be fine. Thank you. That's me. I'll put my the info about my novel in the chat.
Oopsie doopsie. Thank you, Jeff.
So proud to be Canadian, Jeff. I'm so proud to be Canadian. Well done, brother. Well done.
Just keep with the bonjour and parlez-vous and you'll be fine. Okay, thank you. All right, next up, Joe. Joe Walsh.
Hello, thank you. I was thinking I might just run away actually, rather than follow that. My first one's called, I was trying to follow the music, the song or music theme, and the first one's a very short one called Living Room Disco. And I was thinking there ain't no goyles in this disco. I had a living room disco on my own, and I strutted my funky stuff on the fake Persian rug. I jumped for your love, and I believed it could be magic, as I jerked, swung and swayed through the bitter joy of tragedy. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Or any night, actually. And the second one's Four Feathered Tails. After a walk, where I encountered 4 different species of birds. Gold and burnished copper, emerald and bronze, gives away the emperor in winter. Midst dark green of winter barley, harsh cackles announce his own beauty. The pilgrim in solemn black suit and sparkling jet bead eyes, with stabbing golden dagger, ransacks the thorny coppice and feasts upon the cherry red rose hips. 4 piebald suited lords, coattails held aloft from the drenched seed adorned grass, green and purple in their iridescence, leap and seek flooded out mice. Austere granite church, stern bell tower, stone cross high in craggy defiance of each season's weathers. It staunchly endures the seafaring bird, with raucous impudence stands aloft and delivers a blasphemous sermon. And the third one I would like to read is from a little book I got published just yesterday, and it's called Oblivion Disguised. I almost forgot what it was called. It's the title poem for the books I've had published. It's very a lot of introspective stuff within it, and this is an example of it. Where will you run to now, Joe? Where will you hide away? What stormy dreams are you packing up and taking with you on your way? Who are you going to turn to, Joe, now that your friends are ghosts? The sacrificial lamb is bones and love has turned to stone. Where will you run to now, Joe? Where are you going to go? When the smoke clears the mirror and the universe unfolds. Mistaken for eternity, here lies the golden truth. Oblivion disguised for the eyes of mortal youth. And now the youth is a man, Joe. Look, the truth has been exposed. Where will you run to now, Joe? Where are you going to go? Thank you. Thanks very much, sir.
Ben, we can't hear you.
Can't hear
Again,
you.
you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pulled the mic. There we go. Right, we're back again. Sorry, I was actually being attacked by the cat as well by doing that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Put your link for your book in the chat if you haven't done it already. Next up, Paul. Paul, you ready? He's unmuted, so.
Havets port. Samme tid, samme sol. Altid afstandsbærende. Gate of the sea. The same time, the same sun. Always bearing the distance. Nano-slag. Væksthuset lyser op i mørket, hvor frugter fortælles. Måske i æblet, hvis ikke forandringen af nedfældede ord omslutter øjeblikket. Nanostroke. Greenhouse lights up in the dark where foods are told. It must happen in the apple, if not the chains of the words put down envelopes the moment. Det evige, som den sidste nu er. Sovebrynet er salen med det samme i skovbrynet. Skyaflæsning uden himmel. Skovbrynet er salen med det samme. Sovebrynet. Den nat fandt sig selv. The eternal if the last is now. The sleeping edge is all immediately at the edge of the forest. Sky reading without sky. The edge of the forest is hauled immediately in the sleeping edge. That night found itself. En lette jord for at tale. Havets port for de virksomme mener at miste atom, når man nu minder om at blive det vævstrøbende gode sind. Altid tilbage, uden altid ind i dig. Derfor skar udspringen fra hænderne lyset op. Her vendte liv tilbage, uden at vide, hvad liv er. Det jeg faldt for, var en for tidlig vind i mørke, og at jordens mangfoldige rødder under jorden stod lodret. The light soil, so to speak, gate of the sea for the active mean to lose atom, when you know reminds of becoming the tissue problem good mind. Always back without always into you, that is why springs from the hands cut the light up. Here life returned back without knowing what life is. What I fell for was a premature breeze in the dark, and that the manifold roots of the earth under the ground stood upright.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. Wonderful surprise. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Okay. Please welcome now, first time blotter. Yeah, give a few haikus for us, I believe. Merrily. You're still muted.
Sorry about that. My computer is like not very touch sensitive right now. Thank you, Finn. I appreciate the opportunity. Let's see here if I can find my thing now. Yeah, most of these are haikus. Top reason to move to New York City, a place you can be crabby. Nothing shows trust in your fellow humans more than a revolving door. What leads me to look into store windows as my belly bounces past? Women's vanity, thick, fake eyelashes. Side benefit, strong eyelids. He shakes a cup for all it's worth. Sounds like change, but maybe it's breakfast. You'd let them starve so they won't eat up your tax dollars? I'm so happy and so very lucky to have 7 pairs of jeans. Man walks down the sidewalk licking a flattened can. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I say. All kinds of people need our help. But until I say need my help, I probably won't own it, this responsibility. And that's what this is, a responsibility to our, my fellow humans. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad you could join us and glad you decided to read as well. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Finn.
All right. Hey, it's Yvonne.
Hi, Happy New Year to everybody. It seems young since I've seen you. I'm known as an environmental poet, so the first one will have to be about the environment because it's 2023 and we don't know what lies ahead. And it's called It Doesn't Affect Me. We didn't pollute the planet and it's not our fault, they say. We're not to blame for the toxic waste pumped into the sea each day. We buy low energy light bulbs, and elections we always vote green. And unless it's the petrol we put in our cars, we recycle. Our conscience is clean. Fox hunting's only a sport, dear. It's not quite as cruel as they say. It's part of our upper class culture, and sometimes the fox gets away. I got Life on Earth box set for Christmas. It's amazing the footage you see. But don't spout all that crap about saving the world, because it's something that don't affect me. Thank you. The next one is called I See God. I see God where others can't, in the blue and the cloudless skies. I saw him there on Africa's plains, in the hunted rhino's eyes. I saw him in the classes at school, and the games that the children play. I see him there on graffitied walls and the struggle for something to say. I see God on a moonlit beach and the deafening roar of the sea, on the haunted face of the great blue whale who demands nothing more than be free. I saw God in the dry third world and the desperate desire to survive, on the hungry young faces of children and babes left starving and barely alive. I see God where there's violence and hate, where there's cruelty, injustice and greed, where peace and compassion are secondary thoughts in a world full of hatred and greed. But I saw God in the birth of my child, felt a power only he can command, watching her grow as she touches her world, for her future lies there in his hand. I see God in the innocent flower and the beat of the hummingbird's wing, in the warmth of the sun, in the rain on my face, and the glorious promise of spring. I saw God at the colliery gates, near the mines that are silent and still. I heard his voice in the blackbird's song in the mist at the foot of the hill. I see God in the faces of friends, in a trust that is honest and true. In a world that still struggles with COVID-19, I can see God, can't you? Thank you very much. And have I got time for a quick last one?
Yeah, of course you have. Yes, you have. Yeah.
This one is called Drought. So I was thinking that because we had all that drought earlier on in the year, and now we've got like a deluge of rain. But I wrote something about drought because I went to see the reservoirs in England, and it was shocking to see how down and depleted they were. You could see all the mechanics in the reservoirs, all the machinery underneath. It was horrendous. I can see Mother Earth clutching her dry throat. Fish dry drown in death throes, their mouths gasp and gape in our waterless streams and rivers. Seas no longer ebb and flow. Creatures paw the parched soil, frantically pulling up withered brown stalks in a futile attempt to retrieve moisture from them. Insects patiently await the arrival of dawn, yearning for her life-sustaining droplets of dew falling from the dry, dead branches above them. But it does not come. Their dying bodies creak like old rusty gates as they slowly scuttle about in their last desperate search for liquid sustenance. The azure skies above them are cloudless. There is an apocalyptic bleakness on the horizon as it foretells the stark improbability of any rainfall, and the world turns to grey. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Good to have you back. Yeah, thank you very much. It's always good to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. All right, Therese, the screen is yours.
Hello, thank you. I have two poems. I have one, I haven't written in a long time. I've actually been sick since December 25th, and I feel pretty good today. And so that's in response to Finn's theme of music. And then I have one that I've been writing a whole series on the Rosary, and I have the Joyful Mysteries done, which is really the Christmas one. So I'll read those. So anyway, this poem is called We Are Not Alone. Just as the heart of prayer gathers our assent in that love present everywhere, music transcends. We are propelled above the limits of words and share an all-embracing unity with one another. Music sets us free, you see. This is the work of life, to integrate our body, mind, and spirit within the melody of love, where splendor runs like molten gold, restoring every break and every fold. The trail of song provides an everlasting space to move our bodies with the grace of unity. Colton touched this fire of creativity, just as Mozart or Amy Winehouse and the amazing Miss D. It's in us to create and perform, you see. Whether ancient drummers crossing the miles with news, or the bagpipers filling the space with song to gather their courage to lead the others into war. The songs of the bereaved from Irish oppressed in their land, or the gospel music, makes clear who is really in command in the deviant pathology of race. Music helped us to gather our strength with a larger vision, replacing the prison of despair. We sang to one another. Love is everywhere. From the simple happy birthday song to our national anthems claiming the space where we belong. From monastic chants to Broadway rant, music lives and shapes our lives. It soothes, inspires, and makes us laugh. It marks the seasons, transcends our reason. Yes, every note that is intoned is telling us we're not alone. Listen, listen for the Om. That's one. And this is the mystery, some are familiar, some aren't, the mysteries of the Rosary, the Joyful Mysteries. Erotic love coheres the Annunciation. Kept close within the three, never separate from me, as my mind, body, and voice cohered as no other. Now I am told I am a mother. How could it be otherwise? And yet I was surprised. Our love surpassed the hands of time. You and me and you. Could it be we are now three? I was totally surrendered in every way, as my body, mind, and spirit is in love with you. Still, it was true that angelic consciousness had to raise my understanding. I could not breach the meandering through space and time that finally birthed prophetic planning. I waited and could suspend the meaning while I wonder, is our grief at an end? The second mystery, we are one, driven by love to share our unseen connection, the visitation. Reaching out in love to praise these days when our one body manifests and erupts. This love infused makes clear the highway, and my muse prompts me to explain, this fame that will accompany me is just the image of the divine, who now in stark relief proclaims the grief of all mankind is no longer blind, and we will see, yes, all humanity is loved, and those assuming power who sense they tower over others have had their willfulness and false power uncovered by this pair of mothers. If we choose him, how many mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers will be ours? The third mystery, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, the birth of Christ. How close we are. You've inflamed my desire, and all that transpired, sending shockwaves of love. Your empathy entranced me with a longing to be your very flesh. Alive at last, we have passed the distance now together. Bone of our bone, flesh of our flesh, this body you gave to me like a winnowing fan transcends the ordinary birthing. Through the veil of time and space in a place unknown before this grace. Can we speak of God's desire? The fourth mystery, the silent wait, the presentation in the temple. You came to bring this offering, thankful for safety and blessing of your son. It wasn't long before the elders who waited to be released, expecting a priest would come to free Israel, would now tell the story of the child upon whom all glory rests. Of what use is this mystery inscribed in all of history of this old woman, Anna, waiting? The fifth joyful mystery, eruption in consciousness, an untimely encounter, the finding of the child Jesus in the temple. I am awakened in this place and began to teach for 3 days. I see my parents approach disturbed and forlorn. How could I not follow them home? In response to their love and sorrow, I left with them in their caravan as planned. What good is it to know that you are God? Thank you. It's great poetry today. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Glad you're feeling a bit better now. Thank you. I think we've all been smitten with something this past little while.
So many.
I actually had to get ambulance sent to me on Tuesday night because I felt that bad, but Wednesday I was fine again. So, and I'm fine today. Thank you. All right, please welcome. We have a first time blotter tonight. Will you please welcome, we'll get the name right, Peshu Adekunle.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Sorry.
Can you all hear me? Hello. Hi. Finn, are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you now just about, but you're awful breaking up a bit.
Finn, can you hear me?
Yes. Obviously, you can't hear us. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Happy New Year, everybody. And thank you so much for having me right here.
Oh, well, Alexis, thank you very much for having me here and disappears off the screen. Hopefully, Piz will be back. Yeah, hopefully. Okay, to move on then, since she's gone. Leonard.
That's me. Hello, hello, hello. I was silly enough to miss any mention of the theme for today, so you're out of luck there. On the other hand, I noticed that the list of the readers that Finn brought together today has a collective epigraph from Billy Preston. You are so beautiful. Matthew 19:13. If a child from someplace like Florida, Toronto, Edinburgh, spoke to you and said, I'm tired of fearing violence. We need to make a change. Fuck this. I can't vote yet. You need to bring the change. Would you listen and act, be inspired, or correct their choice of expletives, deny the weight of their experience when balanced by their tender age? Think on this. What if they were yours? If they were your brothers or sisters, the children of your neighbors? Then, what if a Dapchi girl, her life destroyed by the so-called men of Boko Haram, or a Ukraine brother and sister, orphaned in the bloody rubble of an entire country? Could you come to, if they came to you in search of sanctuary, of a place to live without daily fear, Would your religion welcome them? Would you embrace them at once? Or would you reject them, indifferent? Think on this. They are yours. They are your brothers and sisters and children. They are your neighbors. Now what? Mother and child. Sadly, true story. When you were one, we spent the day at Disneyland. Your mother, my uncle, and I took turns watching you in your stroller from ride to ride. That night in your crib, you gazed wide-eyed for an hour, digesting, I guess, what you'd seen, and then smiled sweetly in your sleep. You won't remember, but we speak of it still. It's early in the 5th decade of that day. Your son is back from his war, just as I was from mine. His gaze across the dinner table is hooded, distant. I hope when he's a father, he'll dream of wondrous times, and fear when he's a grandfather, he'll scratch at hidden scars and remember his bodies at the end of the day. And finally, elegy. Dig the small grave and place the smaller body so, just so. The chill May rain and the warm human tears falling on her head will serve for the ritual washing of this pup, barely 2 days old. Some future digger after truth, alien or human, kneeling with trowel and brush at this grave, will note in clear, careful script the wonder that a people would be so deliberate with the smallest of their God's creatures and so careless of themselves. Thank you all.
Thank you, Leonard. Always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Finn.
Okay, we're going to try again with Peju. See if it sounds better this time. It was really funny though. You said thanks for having us, and then you disappeared altogether. So.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I think it's okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year once again. So I think my network was unstable, but can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you all hear me? Okay, great. So the title of my poem is Love is Not by Force. And it's based on domestic violence going on in my community. I decided to pen this down and I titled it Love is Not by Force. It was the desire of every girl on campus. Jonathan was a crush to all of us. Handsome, tall, rich, famous. As an athlete, his fame reached as far as Jos. Luck smiled on me and Jonathan spotted me. We became campus' first couple suddenly. We rode everywhere in his Lamborghini, and every of my friends were dying of jealousy. Jonathan called me, and while I had a class tutorial, I knew I shouldn't pick, but I gave it a try. I missed the call and used my speed dial. Jonathan did not respond. Each call met a denial. He showed up at my hostel at 11 p.m. I agreed that from his face, I could tell. As I opened my mouth on the matter to dwell, Jonathan slapped me and I lost my balance and fell. I woke up the next day at the school clinic. It wasn't funny. The slap was Olympic. I lost touch and my bandage was thick. How could Jonathan lose his temper so quick. My friends gathered and laughed me to scorn. Each one said they felt to the Lord I was gone. They made jest of me and it wasn't fun to be abused by a guy whose heart had won. He came visiting with flowers in his hands and he held them before me like a magic wand. He promised to change. I believed them. I believed them. I believed them. And that was the first of several of that kind. It never changed, but only got worse. I missed classes by virtue of his abusive force. On one occasion, I failed a crucial course. That day, I decided that love is not by force. He came begging again and weeping this time around. I told him it was over. I was no longer interested. He felt many gifts could win me like before, but it was over. Go away, Jonathan, I screamed. And that was the end of the hurricane relationship. Though that night, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I made a covenant that I will forever keep, that never to stay 1 second in an abusive relationship. Love is not by force. Thank you very much.
Bravo, thank you. Got there in the end. Thank you very much indeed. Powerful
Thank
stuff.
you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming along. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. Grateful.
My pleasure. Thank you. All right. Here's Zach.
Hello. Can everybody hear me okay?
Hi.
Fantastic. So I've got 4 short poems. They come as part of a set. They've all been finished recently, and they just take you through the seasons of the year, starting at spring, then through summer and autumn, and finally finishing at winter. The first one, called Spring Heralds, I started writing in 2017 after a lengthy hiatus, and then following another lengthy hiatus until the beginning of last year, when I finally finished editing this poem. So I'm going to take you through the seasons of the year through these poems. And the first one's called Spring Heralds. The first oyster catchers are heralding the spring. The trees are still bare, but the birds start to sing. And there is no denying, though the nights are still cold, that winter's icy grip has started loosening his hold. The days start to lengthen, the sun smiles down, and sooner than expected, green hues replace the brown. A murder of magpies are meeting together. Worms are confused by the changeable weather. Molehills appear, grass grows once again. The vixen bears cubs neath the shrub o'er her den. Blossoms begin blooming, beds of budding brush rose grow. The sun sets and rises, casting vivid spectrum rainbows. Dolphins in the harbour, seal pops on the shore. The guillemots and gannets swoop and plunge and swirl and soar. Dragonflies hover and dart over rivers and fields as the long nights recede in favour of the warmth the equinox yields. Relief from the eternity of cold, dark nights, the evenings lasting longer, the pallid sun suggesting warmth and light, hinting at the rapture of potential summer bliss, grateful for the hope and freshness, existential happiness. So that was spring. And spring is followed up by the next poem in the series called Summer Heralds. The flowers and the blossoms finally in full bloom, creation's vibrant tapestry woven on nature's loom. The atmosphere is saturated everywhere you go, buzzing, humming, chirruping, summer's murmuring glow. Nomadic ladybirds delight young and old alike. Cocoon ensconced Lepidoptera awaken, taking flight. Sparrows flit and congregate upon the garden wall. Mustelids root undergrowth, worms renew the soil. Heron guard the riverbank, salmon climb the linn. Skylarks soar and plummet, long days ushered in. Insects teem with industry, frogs flounce o'er lily fronds, fish navigate the currents, ducks squabble in the pond. Beneath deep azure heavens, the placid warmth transcendent, a plethora of stimuli, sights and sounds and scents, exotic floral spectra, adorning boundless verdure, fruitful inflorescence within the garden ardor. The verve of summertide brio relentlessly upheld, nocturnal ventures taken up, activity unquelled, owls and foxes on patrol, viverids arboreal, hedgehogs sniff out slugs and snails whom etch their moonlit silver trails. Soon the thrush's overtures announced a break of day. The piercing flush of tangle sunrise cannot be delayed. Diurnal course incessant, while even dusk till dawn sees amaranthine twilights illuminate horizons. Days out are planned and promised, so many things to do. Parks and picnics, woodland hikes, sports and barbecues, festivals and funfairs, beaches, bathing, swimming pools, bare feet scorched on sun-kissed paving, dipped in brooks to keep them cool. Joy without abandon, the season of respite, beauty basking in the sun, wherein found comfort, safety, and light. And then we move into autumn, autumn heralds. Florid petals crunching underfoot, pavements decor, lawns embellished, harlequin scenery via ravaged trees, summer waning, all but finished. Frosted carpets varnish crisp mornings, icy atmospheres drift in calmly. Morning mists and evening fog, Indian summers bright and balmy. Lucid sunsets flood the sky, vivid vermilion, lilac flares. Blood moons glow against lowering nimbus, by earlier nightfalls caught unawares. Ambushed by the roister of Halloween's grotesque, Christmas merch too soon displayed, that optimistic trudge through vacillating moods, bipolar weather mirroring these spasmodic days. Quavering winds, discontinuous rains, beleaguer rooftops and paving stones, rolling down the window panes, instilling wonder, though woe begone. Dark academia fueling sonder, cowed as through the streets I wander, lost to anemoia and wistful gloom, huddled daydreaming alone in my room. Pied wagtails twitch along the riverbank, moths and bats engage in frantic dogfights, rooks and ravens host their vigils, silhouetted before those spectrum twilights. Wilting flora defer to vaporous moss and fungi, despite decay the earth replenishes, more colour found in death than life, ethereal dawnings as vitality finishes. And finally, we have winter heralds. And this one's quite short. Winter's not my favorite season, so I maybe didn't put as much effort into it as I did the other ones. But yeah, winter heralds to finish off. Ethereal orange glow at night, flurries highlighted in amber streetlights, carpeting the streets and fields, burrows and potholes alike are sealed. And in the hoary morning, incised upon the frost, cock robin's delicate spoor impressed, till in the next snow squall are lost. Fangs of wind sink into shivering flesh, thawing noses issuing mucus, singeing frost-bitten extremities, bidding ice-gripped lungs to wheeze. Bitter fluctuations in the weather, pausing atmospheric ether, confines us in its chill below, plagued by verglass, drafts, and snow. Yet all is not so bleak and bleary, interminable woe and weary. Yuletide illumines, charms and cheers, turns to joy our frosted tears. Gelid, lugubrious, desolate souls, distracted by the pledge of nativity, hope engendered charmed hearts, seduced by frivolous festive activity. Stollen, eggnog, turkey roast, bedecking trees with carol bells, wreaths and gifts with love and cheer, affinities limned through colours and smells. A season of miserable tenebrosity, spruced by sacred celebration, icy shackles shrugged astern, swapped for feasting and libation. And that is the seasons of the year. Thank you very much. I think your mic's broken again, Finn. No, I still can't hear you.
There we go. There we
There we
go.
go.
I don't know what's happened to it at all. Anyway, I was saying a whole year and 5 minutes. Thank you. All right. Who's up next? I think. Sorry, my phone's gone. It's Leslie.
Hello, here I am. Lovely to see everybody this evening. Okay, I have two, and I'll just start with this one. It's called High Desert Lake. Renew the you to the interior, the lake still. No need to show, to shine the inside of you outward. Renew the you, the still lake of nothing, no movement. It lays calm, unmoving, no need to show or tell what it, the dull glow is, radiating quietly by itself and for no one. No one else talking its language, not yours, and to no one. The quiet language of existence, tuned to the ears of stars, the deep, slow, sonorous turns of movements, sighs deep in the earth connected to your inner ear, before trailing up into the firmament to touch briefly with star to star on its way. It will return to you, this voice, to shout or to whisper. It doesn't matter. It's the same voice. Same music sung below the high tones, pitched different. And you turn your head, tilt your head, a happy dog, knowing you can hear the pitch from a high range up to the north. The mountains signal to you back home, and you will arrive, you will arrive. The dirt is nothing, only the sound which emanates from it. I will ask for nothing but the procession of souls upon being there, the parasol's delicately balanced thought, the depth of love for you, colors of each in harmony with moon, the salt air rising above sound, its mist rising, risen high like sun. I ride your horse, Manuel, in the wake of you, in the wake of the gone one, and we travel together, knowing loss, mourning, and like the sound of dirt, we both know we are eternal. And then the second one is called A Plateau. You have asked to grow and to change, to shapeshift from one form to another. And so now you feel yourself expanding with having the new that comes to you enlarge, shift, reducing, shrinking again to the old safe form, but the stretch, the stretching, the involuntary response to stretch is upon you, and you stretch. And the fear is there that you will expand so greatly, perhaps into this unknown, that you will burst your skin. Is that the ancestor lizard or snake, and you knowing this, remembering how it feels to shed? You are made up of the fabric of yourself. You see in the dark the emblems of misery, of loss that you have to grow yourself out of and upward. This you know, among the other things that you know, or you think you do, that this is just a stepping place, a plateau of many, to hold your foot, steadying you as you climb, the hollow V for victory when you think you have won, and you slide down this ladder, the one you know all too well, to begin again, and you begin, and begin, and begin, and begin again. That's all. Thanks.
Well, beautiful, beautiful as always, Leslie. Thank you very much indeed. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, let's move over to a brother from another country, Mr. Rex.
Thank you so much. Thank you all, my friends. Happy New Year to all of you. I'm going to ask you a couple favors. First, I want you to think for just a minute. I want you to send healing thoughts to all our friends who are suffering COVID and related things. There's a lot of people, we keep hearing about it. So I'm going to open with a couple COVID poems, real short and sweet. And then I'm going to, well, you know what? I'm going to share the political one first, get that out of the way. Yeah, we have some real insanity going on over here in America. And although unfortunately, we're not the only ones suffering a right-wing attack. So here we go. This is a very fresh piece just this morning. And here we go. It's called Craven Kevin's Cave-In. A Pyrrhic victory? Even Kevin will realize reluctantly it's no more than a muddled illusion before your eyes, destructively like a desert mirage. I thought we learned it's one heck of a way to get your toesies burned. And while Kevy was able to get elected, I'm guessing all his goals will be neglected. No more than lip service will they obtain from the fevered imaginings and teen tender taste of Matt Gates's brain. Whatever the right-wing kooks desire, he'll find will only add kindling and brushwork to the rising fire. Meanwhile, Trumpy's over in the corner wheezing after the shellacking he received last election season. It may be why he don't like elections. Nobody ever seems to agree with his selections. Kevy, dear, it'll be dreadful run, but if you liked it so far, you're really in for some ginormous fun. My only regret is the trouble we'll get from the right-wing kooks when they totally escape the net. And now, a wee bit of COVID, a fresh one and a more mature one. Let's again remember, please, for me, just remember those people you know who are sick. Send them some healing, send them some energy. And now I offer you this, my friends. Okay, there we go. This is called Down from the Trees. Honey, baby, tell me, please, since we're not so long down from the trees, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Up in the branches or down on deeply polished floors. We like reciprocal, you and me, ever since we balanced on the limbs of trees. Whether out in the car or up in the tree, I'll groom you and you groom me. The only thing now that's left for us, as the virus sets a fence between what we really feel and what we really mean, with you so far away on the other side of the glowing screen another day, we wave weekly. How I miss your sweet perfume and the many ways, darling, you decorate a room. Distance Mars, our love sealed up behind the screen's glass walls untouched. Oh, honey, baby, tell me, please, since we're really not that long down from the trees, I wish you were here to find and pluck off all my fleas. We're isolated, out of touch, and miles away, my fingers clutch in disarray, my clothes askew. Oh, what I wouldn't give for you to have your seat beside me here, with your fingers searching my matted hair, even to have you look with scorn at the clothes piled across the room I've worn. I'd even eat the toast you'd burn if I could beside you touch you and warmly turn. And the last one is my fresh COVID piece. It's called New and Improved. BQ1, BQ 1.1, XBB 1.51 are hardly any kind of fun. No jive. XBB and XBB 1.5 are the latest, greatest muddling virus, tireless, rudderless, alive. We knew before, if the doors weren't locked, we'd be in for 12 more COVID shocks. By Lincoln logs and Lego blocks, COVID, who never left, is back in stock. The shelf is full, you know the drill, and any mortician might easily show that any lingering virus is bound to grow. Improved resistance to our medical armory and our medical artillery has performed quite valiantly. Of these new subvariants, it is said, are harder to catch, snatch, smash, and leave for dead. Not only do our current vaccines offer no more cover than a starlet's bikini, they are immune, evasive as they crisscross the nation's vicinity. It seems these subvariants hardly notice when they cross paths with our current medicine. They're just out of focus. They're barely susceptible to the current crop. Maybe a few of the kiddies in the back row might guess what that means. Stop. BQ and XB models these days, my friends, better find you with your mask on, or it could be your end. 72% of the current infectious crop are these vicious buggers in our hospitals. Stop. Barely susceptible to the current vaccines, the silence is deafening. You know what that means. We're again dependent on science, no matter what those scheming others dream. These render inactive all the various antibodies they've gained with ascendancy, and they might triumph over science. What is me? Thank you, my friends.
What is me? Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful observance. Though you've been set on a challenge actually by our D. Allen to write a poem about, as he says here, the governor of the American state of Florida, Mr. Don't Say Gay himself. There you go. There's a challenge for you. Okay, here's a third. Who assumes she'll host the night? Please welcome Raul.
Thank you, Finn. Happy New Year to you all. It's kind of a fitting way to introduce me because the other day I was called an Uncle Tom and a supporter of white supremacy, since I don't agree with the Black narrative that's being shoved down people's throats today. So believe it or not, I'm with DeSantis because he never did say what people think he said. Anyway, I have a lot of political stuff to say this year because I'm kind of getting tired of this one-sided whitewashing that we're going through. I find it interesting. Racism was wrong back in the day, but somehow it's right today. So I find that very interesting. Anyway, I have two pieces I'd like to share with you. This first piece, I'm not sure if it's finished, is called Breaking News. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? This is Eyewitness News, Breaking Dreams. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, resting in a sweet dream of unicorns and a better tomorrow, while the adults drown their sorrows in winding screams. Everything is wonderful today as we no longer live with borders, carefree to roam wherever, whenever, with no papers or mandates, as we hug and sing Kumbaya, knowing everything is right as rain. This land is your land. This land is my land. Wait, that was a dream. Tears in our eyes as we look through the lenses of hypocrisy. The smile of the righteous plays judge presiding over the court, while the sins of the past are somehow righteous in this dawn. Borders now passe like old stories you might have read. You know, the Indians, the migrants, the turkey, a story of gratitude and celebration. From sea to shining sea, the story of the past that just keeps giving is the new light shining brightly from Ladies' Liberty's torch. Hope for the tired, the poor, the hungry chasing the dream, the unvetted bust and flown unaware pawns in the chess game. Frontline soldiers in this war now spilling into the sanctuary. Progressive talk inclusion over lattes until it visits their shores. A state-triggered outrage of how dare they walk our main street, but what happened to treating others the way? No, wait, it's a state of emergency. Oh, the land of the free and the home of, from the memory of a little boy from an island lost in the headlines, who shuffled through JFK along with others chasing the dream, to stand in a line along with his mother for that little green card of hope. But today's generation now use shame to guilt where the line now starts. No longer necessary to wait for the green lantern of a promise. Are we the people in a state of mind united in civility? Only time will tell. This is Raul I Am reporting from Eyewitness News. Stay tuned for more breaking news about further sightings on reason, logic, and the inclusion or the exclusion of common sense. They were kidnapped during the lockdown and haven't been seen since. Eyewitness News, your portal to something that resembles the truth. End of piece. And then this last one I call Sound of Stillness. Standing before the rippling dark waters, I am lost in a memory. Gentle canopies of dark gray clouds float by, the illuminated moon their reward. In this silence, my heartbeat sounds stillness in the valleys of my shadow. The hoot of an owl mimics the stoic gospel that stirs visions of past memories. My mind perched on a branch, unsure of its footing in this absence of uncertainty. While up above, a gallery of shooting stars navigate into the night's playground. The phenomenon of the moment captured her glow. Her impact suspends time. My imagination holds up a mirror reflecting back the hope of seasons past. The moon spotlights the potential in my being, like the nurtured fields of growing minds. Clouds hover overhead as they seductively entice the release of thoughts. I stand knee-deep in the waters of redemption. My sweat purifies the pending harvest. Present to the wisdom in this moment of stillness, baptized by faith in the divine. Eyes heavy, I rest upon a bed of lucid feelings, inspired by the dirt on my hands. The water healed my false illusions of suffering as the moon's fire witnessed my harvest. My heart's rhythm beats of another solstice morning in the winter splendor of it all. End of piece. Thank you, Finn. Thank you for your masterful job of hosting and for holding this space. Love you all.
Thank you very much, Ro. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Okay. Welcome back, Gerald.
Hi, everyone. A New Year poem called A New Leaf. Perhaps I should not write so much. Others don't. This poem, for example, is only there to fill up the space. I found 8 lines at the bottom of a page and counted them. Just room for a poem like this one, I thought, before I turn over a new leaf. New leaf. And this one is a sonnet called As the Night. As the night closes in on the rude stable, the mother lays down in the straw to sleep, and the father picks up the child, carries him between the nudging cattle, coos at the gurgling baby. It's all right. He's warm, wrapped in his swaddling clothes. The stall is empty and the floor is hardly lit by a star. There are only a few stains of blood. It is to be hoped it is enough. Outside, shepherds descend the hills. Wise men traverse on plodding camels. They'll come later, not yet. Wind, like angels' songs, whispers through warped wooden walls. Planks that are roughly nailed where the waiting woman sleeps. That's As the Night. Oddly, that came out of a little bit in The Handmaid's Tale, and kind of how your mind goes to different areas, and that was how it came about. Anyway, and because this year we're hearing a bit more about Russian Orthodox Christmas, I'm going to finish with a slightly Christmassy one, appropriate, called I Will Bring Gold. And this is for our friends in Ukraine, I think. I will bring you gold. I will bring it you in caskets. I will bring it on the backs of donkeys and in the pockets of merchants. I will mine it for you out of hills. I will pan it for you out of rivers. I will exchange it for oil and weapons. I will build cathedrals from it and coat onion domes and spires in its glittery sheen so that it reflects the sun in the clear blue sky. I will bring you gold, here where you sit surrounded by your acolytes. I will bring you frankincense That blue rock which when crushed emits a fragrance that all the world is envious of, a fragrance of perfumed oratory, a fragrance of fawning handshakes, a fragrance of uneasy diplomats, of tank tracks as they slide over gravel, of women as they peer out of basements, of children holding a mother's hand, crushing it when they see your face on the television grinning, of soldiers huddled in the cold and the night, waiting for the next bombardment. I will bring you frankincense, and you will breathe in its aroma as you loll in your gilded palaces, as you pronounce like the king that you are, commands we must all obey. And I will bring you myrrh, that bitter herb. I will bring you resentment of wrongs. I will bring you self-righteousness and self-justification. I will bring you an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I will bring you a deep-rooted sense of how you have been robbed and cheated by those who do not bend to your will. I will bring you the right to crush them, to overcome them, to defeat them. I will bring you long nights in which you wake sweating. I will remind you that the end justifies the means, how the only way to stay safe is to strike first. I will whisper grievances in your ears, but it will never satisfy you, this myrrh that I bring you. And that's okay. It will not be you who suffers. I will bring you all these things, Herod, because otherwise I would have to take them to a tiny stable, to a family in poverty, to a baby born for suffering, who is savior of the world, who is the many saviors of the world, each one a light to humanity. And I will bring you gifts, Herod, for otherwise you would hunt down every child under 2 in case they were that savior. I will bring you these things, Herod. I will bring them to your throne and bow down before you, O master of special operations, of carpet bombing and cold denial. I will thank you for the truth that allows you to celebrate Christmas when others cannot. I will acknowledge that you are powerful and I am not. I will bring gold and frankincense and myrrh. I will leave them at your feet. And when I return home, I will pretend I never gave it you, this offertory of gold and frankincense and myrrh. That's me, thank you.
Can't hear you again, Finn. Still can't hear you.
1, 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. I'll have to maybe get a new mic. Okay. Thank you very much, Gerald. That was wonderful. I love the Christmas one. It was really great. Thank you. Okay, Kate, on you go.
I don't usually share screen, but I'm going to this time for the first poem, if that's all right. Finn, I think it's turned on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always on.
Okie dokie. This poem's called Undiagnosed. An abundance of areas demanding my attention. How can I prioritize them? And don't tell me to just focus. Are you aware of your bias? Describing me as lazy, however hard I work, it just doesn't ever seem to be enough. And I try to imagine every slight disaster scenario planning as I go, hoping I get it right this time, despite your constant criticism. And sometimes you are kind, deciding to ask me what I need. How can I say what it is when I don't know myself? It is poetry at work day, next Tuesday. And of course, I know you'll all be celebrating it. And I've written this poem in honor of all the wonderful leaders, political or organizational. And of course, that's very tongue-in-cheek. It doesn't have a title because I realize I have a voice you wish to silence. I realize you wish to silence me in the hope the voice in your head, which is whispering these same doubts, also stops. And so you turn my words against me, my too honest, too nice, too kind words of inquiry are heard as criticism and treachery, and you turn my words against me. I don't know how you do this. Do I sound like I don't believe you, so you think me disloyal? Do I sound like I see all your flaws, so you think me risky to have around? You'd be right. I am risky. I expect you to see the ways you could be better too, the ways you could serve the people you lead better. But then the realization strikes me that your words don't mean what they say. You want to lead because your ego needs the power kick. You want to lead to see others click their heels, lick your boots. Your leadership isn't real. And then a last tiny, tiny little drop of a poem. I run on fun. Or should that be dopamine? I need a surge of dopamine to get the boring work done. The more I laugh, the more I finish. Thank you.
Woo, thank you. Yes,
Cheers.
thank you.
Yay, Smudge.
It's his third appearance tonight, yeah.
Oh.
Keeps attacking me anyway. Thank you very much indeed, Kate. Thank you. She's going. Thank you. Right, our penultimate reader tonight now. Penultimate reader, Kenyana.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year, new month, new everything. All right, here go my poem. And also going to put my events in the chat box as well. I'm still doing events of 2023. I have my open mic, which is next week as well. All right. Our secret family. It's not a secret, as you can see. A cover of each family that plays the victim, don't kiss or tell. It's not a secret that little girls and little boys become raped by the members of their own families. Our secret family. It's not a secret that children hate themselves because of their grandmother, their aunties, their daddies and uncles, and others that bully them to the point they have nightmares. Our secret family. It's not a secret we keep repeating the same lies of every generation to cover up because we're scared and we know the truth. But reality, we keep putting the curse on the next generation and letting them suffer of humankind of wrongs. Our secret family. It's not a secret that it's our secret not to line our lies versus truth of healing. It's not a secret of cover up emotions of pain. It's not getting it out to the open to express why we're hurting. It's not a secret. It's not a secret to keep the scars of our parents. It's not a secret to keep the scars of our childhood trauma and pass it down to our own children. It's not our secret family. It's not a secret to keep verbal abuse going when it comes to a time to stop at one point. It's not a secret to keep problems going from years ago into now. It's not a secret to keep fighting over old who dealt with it years ago. Our secret family. It's not a secret. It's something that families stop doing to help us to get to the next level in life. It's not just a secret of many have jealousy and hurts and evil souls. It's not a secret. Sneak peek, people. That project will be out soon. So, and I got one more poem. In honoring of Black History Month, my children book, her name is Journey, which I'm going to do this poem next. In honoring Black history, this little book is now nationwide in every Georgia libraries as of 2023. So here it goes. I'm this little shy girl that's called Journey. See, I've been called pretty all my life. How I known to be pretty? Because of the dark skin and pretty long hair. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little girl that's called pretty. Hey, pretty, do I change the color of the rainbow? Do I change the color of my skin? See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm this little shy girl that wants to fit in all the right places. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm the little shy girl that wants to fit in all the right places. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. Do I wear jeans or do I wear a skirt? See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm this little shy girl that wants to fit in all the right places. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty. So thank you, everybody. And I'll put the link in the put the link in the chat. Her name is Journey. So thank you all for supporting me. But yes, this little book is now in Georgia libraries, the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
So
wonderful. Wow,
yeah.
thank you. So
So
glad you
I'll put
managed to get there.
everything.
Yeah,
I'll put
just do
everything in the
that.
chat. I have my open mic next week at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time zone. So I'm trying to transition and everything. So bear with me, people, because I took off for like 3 months and I needed that break. You know, sometimes you have to do that mental break, and I had to do that for a while, but I'm back. So I'll put everything in the chat for you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Without sounding corny, good luck on your journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Finally, the last act of the night, Mr. Wonderful Gary Huskisson.
Hello, hello, hello. God, what a wonderful artist. That set is Ricky Kate. I love that set. All right. This is, I'm going to have to apologise because I haven't practiced this and I haven't really timed it. But it's, the majority of the words for this poem, well, all the words actually, were taken from quotes from the Bible, but I've had a bit of poetic license. And it's about the breakdown in communication. And halfway through, I will start naming the quotes. And in other news, did you know, according to David Attenborough, in the day-to-day 9-to-5 working life of an ant or a bee, communication is key to build not just a family, but a colony. I think we can have some lessons here, do you? We've got strikes, inflation, energy, poverty, a failing GDP. The industrious bee can demonstrate good industrial relations. Communication. This is what we need to save the economy, then rescue humanity. Communication is the key. No communication, no arbitration, no ant nor bee. At present, the words of the reckless pierce like Excalibur's sword. The wounds deepen with every syllable and every word, the tongue speaking unfamiliar or non-human languages, which the speaker is unfamiliar. That's Acts 2:8, or non-human. Holy language, which is now the person in 1 Corinthians 14:2. They are blood-brought vipers who cannot speak rightly with authority, where they have allied themselves with the insurgents. Matthew 12:34. 2. Bridle your tongue through the passage of time. It will ferment like bitter wine. Proverbs 2:18. And if there's no one who you can find, James 5:16, the pressure will keep building inside. Proverbs 15:1. We need communication if we're going to survive. Tangled lines causing confusion. Seems we've lost a good connection by cutting short our conversation. Proverbs 15:23. no tables banging, no collective bargaining, a little understanding, lots of pitching and protagonist finger wagging. No communication, no arbitration, no ant nor bee. Not even a text to say hi or let's meet for coffee in the chat. The man himself expressed disgust for this tale of Grenfell, or was that Babel? But we're scattering all the languages and the accents that are spoken. Genesis 11:1-9, hence all the communication lines are broken. Yes, no communication, no arbitration. Let me tell you guys, but a doctor can't hear a dying patient giving consent because the government just won't listen, because miscommunication causes assumption, causes misinterpretation. Won't talk, won't meet, won't draw, but draw the wrong conclusion. Ring 999, ambulance is not coming, flashing blue lights, are stuck in isolation. It's no communication, no arbitration, no and the The train drives are tangled lights are causing confusion. Government so fast to tracks they won't seek a solution. The men in blue can't read the signal because there's leaves on the track. Now all the rail cars are subject to inflation. The light on the track is not a divine invitation. It's a 1, 2, 5 and it's flying wishy-washy. And he ain't stopping. We are staying on this track of mass destruction. No communication, no arbitration. The patient presses the buzzer. Wants a bedpan, can't speak, nothing. Nurses can't answer call of nature because they rest off the feet. The pressure will keep on building up side. Did I tell you that's Proverbs 15:1? The patient will get bed sores whilst sleeping in a pool of urine. And the queue for a hospital bed is now in the freezing cold outside. And still the government don't listen to the nurses' demands. Excuse me. The NHS dies. Breaking news, yes, the NHS is broken. No communication, no arbitration. But we can afford a ring of roses. The Tories have got mixed a tissue, and they all have cheese and wine. Oh. Postman Pat has not got a black cat. He's got a little red van. What's got a flat? The job was not done and no one delivered. Our elected leaders on a 12-year sabbatical, then they stood and they understood the gap. They're having a Kit Kat. That. Oh. With their speeches and manifestos, the godless backbenchers restore the consequence. Only by knowledge the righteous are delivered. Proverbs 11:9. Whatever your particular persuasion, nothing's going to be solved without communication. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's gather around the table, have a beer, have a chat, give our public, some sector workers, some appreciation, not just a slow hand clap. Try to do that in rhythm. All right, before the lights go out in the lamp for the bed, communication is key. Before one party has complete state electorate go on the efforts, you can't have what you want because of inflation, or was it globalization, or was it Putin's annexation, or is it because nobody's taking responsibilities for their actions? The shiny Tories respond to broken down commodity, tank their lives, causing confusion. We lost good command. FSA in chapter 4:26. Cut in short, Commonwealth States, I've told you before. Proverbs 15:23. Breakdown. Yes, tangled lines causing confusion. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and 7. Depends, it's the King James. We can't be your minds. So the solution, you've got to say what's on your mind. Colossians 4:6. You've got to say what's on your mind. Ecclesiastes 4:26. If you don't know, it will be a crime. Ephesians 4:27. To bribe you tongue for the passing time, it's firmer like bitter and wide. Proverbs 12:8. If there's no one here, you can find James 5:6. I've always said this, but the pressure will keep on building upside. You will be able to pray for the right time. Proverbs 18:20. From this explosion, no man can hide. Ecclesiastes 9:17 to 4:29. All these tangled lines are causing me spontaneous combustion. We used to be tight. It's time to push back the tide. I used to be so tight with them. That's Psalms and 41:9. But then me fight with them. That's Psalms 41:7, and quarrel all night with them. Psalms 35:1. So things not got me right. I used to be strong and sing a song with them. Psalms 55:12-14. But things gone wrong with them. So me got go along with them. Psalms 1:1. I used to be right, but then I'd be wrong. Sometimes I'd be weak. So full of pride, and then I get knocked down by 1 Peter chapter 5:5-6, not in the King James. Why can't we all just get along? Well, you've got to tell me what's wrong. I said that in the previous bit. That's Proverbs 25:11. I can't figure out why your face is so. I know you're holding your feelings so strong because. Please tell me what's going on. Ecclesiastes chapter 3:7. King James, because miscommunication causes some miscommunication, causing the righteous to come. So tell me if you're tuning on a friend. 4:26. The guessing game needs to come to end. Well, we've got to say, you've got to say, what's on your mind? Proverbs 15:1. I used to be with them, and I eat food with them, have a drink with them, make points with them, but things then got rude with them. They fight the whole problem. Psalms 5:9. I used to be so cool with them. I sit in school with them. Psalms 55:14. Depending which one you're reading. But things turn cruel with them. So me, they fall with them. I used to be like a beat. I'm weak. I'm so full of pride. I've already told you it's 1 Peter 9. I'll then kick down on Ephesians 4:27. I've got to say what's on my mind. Ecclesiastes chapter 3:10. I'm sorry, you're sorry. I forgave you. It wasn't things to go back in time. It wasn't fine, but we all smiled for miles and miles. Though King Canute and Debbie Harry insist the tide is high. The Lord remonstrated with Moses. Why do you cry? Exodus 14:5. Time to push back the tides. Stretch your hands across the sea to push back the stormy tides. We are blessed as we don't walk with liars and non-believers. Psalm 1. Thou shalt say, focus with you, seek resilience and grace. Psalms 16:8. But the thing is, the emperor is naked. The emperor is naked. Yes. The ministry of false promises and lies didn't even turn up the table. They pay some notice from the civil servant monkeys. They don't even go to the picket line. They send drones into battle while the writers of the baptism. The teacher may sit down and die, still in dirt and on my grace, still with them dirty faces, even in the fear of end of life. I'm living in the fear of the end of life. I say, I'm held off. I just want to reach in with life. Each breath is distinguished. This is in Mark chapter 2:8. The tongues of mankind can only expel words of hate. Held that nice point at the throat to submit to the oppressors, the colonisers, and the tractor pornographers, and the parliament masturbators, which is spelled wrong. The only way the racists can fight is with real truth. The only double L&D is for the righteous what's doing right. Yes, Lucifer will stoke the fire because I read it in prophets. Look, everyone, this world was meant to be ours. This world and all these promises that the emperor is naked. Yes, the emperor is naked. We are living in a land of make-believe. This is not the home of democracy. There is not a hospital bed for you and me. How can we emancipate ourselves from mental slavery when we're shackled to bureaucracy, living in shop doorways? There is no humanity. In the words of Robert Marley, get up stand up for your rights. This regime is captive to its own lies. It must falsify the past. It must falsify the past, present, the future, justified by falsifying the stuff, pretending to respect human rights, respecting only human rights. Oh God, shit. Didn't realise it pretends to pursue no one. It pretends to persecute. It pretends, yes, news off the plate. It pretends nothing, nothing, nothing but the politics of misplaced hope. Once we live in truth, we shall be happy, seeking for those streets of gold. Flashback, John Wayne is not coming over the hill with the cavalry. Oh, we are all the Lone Ranger. And as for Tonto, he's stuck in immigration control. Time to face it. The Emperor's got his bits out, naked as the day he's born. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness. And yes, he's still in Exodus. Thus, it's highly recommended that all of you with me move closer where grace sits. We're ready to see to find grace. And write this one down, because it's in Hebrews 4:15-6. I proclaim this kingdom with this emperor has no clothes, because he's stark, bloody naked.
Oh.
I'm gonna voice off.
Thank you, Gary. What a way to end the show from our screens here. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Wonderful stuff. Right, I'm going to try. It's finished, so I'm going to stop recording.